Well, hey folks, it's your old pal, King Waspinator. Welcome back to Total Party Skills. As you can see here, Mordenkainen presents Monsters of the Multiverse. Has finally appeared up on Amazon.com. It looks like it's going to be coming out May 17th, according to its release schedule. It's available for pre-order for the low and affordable, reasonable price of only $44.96. I guess they must have just put this up here because like the text is pretty screwed up because certain punctuation didn't get translated properly. But let's read through this. A bestiary of wondrous friends and foes for the world's greatest role-playing game, sparkling. That's a good choice of interesting choice of word there. Sparkling with the musings of the wizard Mordenkainen. Oh, let's just mull that sentence over in our mouths one more time. Say it along with me, folks. Here, you can read it on the screen. Sparkling with the musings of the wizard Mordenkainen. This tome features a host of creatures for use in the Dungeons and Ampersand Dragons role-playing game, compiling and updating monsters that originally appeared in previous D Ampersand D 5th edition releases. These creatures represent some of the most benevolent and malevolent forces that D Ampersand D heroes might face. This book also gathers together fantastical peoples from many different worlds. Each of these peoples represents a race option when you create your D plus Ampersand D character, expanding on the choices in the player's handbook. God, that's a big long one. Includes more than 250 monsters and MD dash updates to the monsters. Includes more than 250 monsters dash updates to the monsters. Include making spellcasters easier for dungeon masters to run, giving many monsters more damage and resilience, and improving the organization of the stat blocks themselves. Includes more than 30 playable races. Brings the game setting agnostic races into one book, complementing the races in the player's handbook. A multiverse of lore includes updates to monster lore that refocuses their stories on the D Ampersand D multiverse rather than any particular world. Okay, so I guess what we're picking up from all this is that it's going to basically just be a second monster manual. Maybe more so than what Tome of Foes is already like. 250 monsters. They're reorganizing the stat blocks. Sounds like an excuse to remove alignment. Giving the monsters more damage and resilience. I guess counterintuitively, or are they, while they're doing all this other stuff to soften character creation, they're going to make the monsters harder to beat? Is it actually going to be more deadlier? That might be a minor improvement, but there's some of the rest of it, like 30 playable races, bringing the game's setting agnostic races into one book. So most of what these 30 playable races are going to be then are the Genasi, the various other races from the Elemental Evil Player's Handbook, the stuff from Volo's Guide, the stuff from Tome of Foes, maybe the races out of Eberron that weren't included in those. Basically, they're going to sweep in all the various addendums and races that they've already done. So what they're pulling here right now is the Palladium books, where they're basically just going to copy-paste some stuff from stuff they've already written into one convenient tome here at the very end of D&D 5th edition. 30 of them, eh? I mean, there might be a few new ones, or if are they counting the various sub-races? Do Eladrin and Shadar Kai count as new races, or are they just folded in with elves in general? And updates to monster lore that refocuses their stories on the D Ampersand D multiverse rather than on any particular world. Well, I guess that's where we're going to get our replacement lore from the stuff that's being supposedly yanked out of Volo's Guide to Monster. You know, the weird thing about the whole, they put out this errata thing on D&D Beyond saying, here's all the material to remove from Volo's Guide to Monsters. That's, in a way, that's very voluntary to do that to yourself. I mean, you gotta go out of your way to go to D&D Beyond, sign up for D&D Beyond, happen to notice that thing, download it, and then incorporate it into how you're running your game. I haven't heard any word if any of that's supposed to mean that further printings of Volo's Guide to Monsters are going to have the lore removed, or is that just purely something to find on D&D Beyond and just keep mental track of for yourself? I mean, it's not like they're coming house to seize our copies of Volo's Guide to Monster and then go through it with a big old black magic marker and redact it like it's some sort of top secret CIA file or anything like that. But here, right here, though, this last little sentence refocuses their stories on the multiverse, means that, yeah, I guess we're going to be getting a bit more generically formatted monster lore instead of what was in Volo's Guide, which is, was admittedly a bit more focused towards the Forgotten Realms interpretation of these things. So, from the sounds of it, they're basically just repackaging stuff that we've already had in a bunch of other scattered books. They're compiling it all into one easy-to-use tome for only $44.96. That's a 2-cent saving over the $44.98 they would normally charge you. I mean, what an incredible deal. So anyway, I guess this was what we get to look forward to from our, our lovely taskmasters at Wizards of the Coast. Anyway, I guess leave comments below on your thoughts on this wonderfully edited little block of text here. Hit like and subscribe. And as always, stay waspinated.